Right, another really tough challenge again this week with a gritty, well-coached Pitt team. You know, they've had a great year, and you know they obviously coming off a close, disappointing loss against Virginia, where they had a couple of their key players got hurt. But this is a typical Coach Narduzzi team, man. I mean, they're tough, they're physical, they're gritty, and that's a characteristic that every Pitt team I've seen. They all have that, and that's coached into them. Got a great staff. It's a great place to go play a game. Just been up there the one time. Obviously, we didn't get a good result, but got a lot of respect for them as a program, and again how they play the game. I mean, both sides of the ball. They've had a heck of a year offensively. They're one of the top scoring offenses in the country. We're both top 15, 16 scoring offenses, and they're throwing the ball all over the park. A lot of tempo, and they've got some electric players. They've got a really good group of receivers all across the board. Their tight ends are really involved. And then they've got an absolute, rocket in the backfield with that zero. He can do it all. He's fifth in the country in all-purpose. They're one of the best passing teams in the country, top 25. I think they're 22nd overall in passing the ball. So plus they're rushing for 150 plus a game. So it's a really, really good football team. That challenge you. A lot of RPOs, a lot of zone read, but the ball's out quick, and we've got to do a great job, in trying to put a good plan together to defend these guys. Try to carry over from this past game, the type of consistency that we want to create down the stretch defensively to finish well, and find a way to turn them over and affect their quarterback. But that's easier said than done. But really, really physical group up front in the offensive line, and again, got some dudes that can make plays and can change direction, yards after the catch. Both quarterbacks are really good players. Obviously, Holstein went down in the last game. Don't know what his status is. We just always assume that everybody's playing, kind of like last week. It's just kind of how we go about it, and we'll go from there. And then defensively, I mean, they are who they are. I mean, they're incredibly aggressive, a million pressures. They stress you from a ID communication standpoint, because they got a ton of hot pressures where they just hoping that they can. That you ID the wrong guys, and they got a lot of guys coming free, and they'll play man behind it, they'll play zone behind it. They a ton of press coverage. Safeties are incredibly aggressive in the run game. I think they're top 15 in the country in rush defense, so they don't give up a lot of run yards by nature of what they do. So again, another physical group. They're up front. They can get after the passer. They're an up the field group. And downhill with their back seven when it comes to stopping the run and then challenging you physically to make competitive plays. So good football team across the board. Dangerous in the return game as well. And again, that number 0, he's a problem all over the field. But looking forward to it. Looks like it's going to be pretty good weather up there in Pittsburgh, and noon game. Great opportunity for us. I mean, this is our last conference game, so a chance to, if we can find a way to win the game, finish 7-1 in our league, especially coming off of a disappointing 4-4 league play season last year. It'd be a great improvement for us. So just got to have a great week of practice. That's where it starts. And today will be a tough Tuesday practice, and I like where the guys are mentally, and they're excited about what opportunity they still have to try to finish strong this season. Any questions?
Do you have any feel for Tate and Tristian Leigh right now?
Yeah, they're truly day-to-day. And, again, we thought Tate was going to play up until breakfast last week. And then Tristian, structurally everything's good. He just day to day kind of working his way back.
Is his talent around still week to week?
Yep, and looks great. He's a guy that probably could be ready maybe next week, certainly by South Carolina game. But he's a guy we kind of got to make a decision on because he played 4 games, and so we could try to get his year back if we can hold him. So that's a decision we'll have to just see where we are as we finish up. We got 18 days left in the season, so we'll just kind of have to see how it all plays out. It certainly would be great for him if we could at this point hold the year, but we'll just have to see how it all plays out. But he certainly will be available for postseason.
Capehart not on the depth chart this week. Is he?
Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's out this week for sure.
Looking back at the rushing defense last week versus the Louisville game, is there anything in hindsight that you wish you did against Louisville that you did against Tech schematically or anything like that?
No, we just did it better. Just a different mentality, completely different mindset. So no.
Wide receiver Adam Randal, I think, played about 3 snaps against Virginia Tech this past week, I guess. How can he increase his role after playing, 20?
Yeah, just some, situational stuff like, the week before, Cole hardly played any snaps, I mean, it just, you get into rotation and it's series here, series there. Some series are longer than others, and, but, he's made some, obviously he's missed a couple games, but he's made some big plays for us, and he'll make some big ones, down the stretch. But just kind of how that game went from a personnel standpoint in that particular game, but nothing. It's just kind of week to week on how all that stuff plays out.
Will Sammy get started again this week, or be based off what Pitt's doing offensively?
Just based on what they do. I mean, they're an all 11 personnel team. I think they I don't know, very very few snaps of 12. It's mostly all 11 personnel. But we'll see how it is situationally, and he's certainly got to have opportunity to play, and he's earned that, and will continue to do that. And it's just really created some great depth there. We really feel good about where we are. We felt great coming into the season with Kobe. Kobe was really our third guy and really ready to play. Sammy wasn't quite there, and man, now where we are, we feel good about where we are depth-wise because D. Creighton has really improved. He's a redshirt freshman. He's really improved. Jamal has improved. You haven't seen it quite as much on the field. And Sammy has just, as the game has slowed down for him, he's just taken off and has done such an awesome job. He's in a really good place. So we feel good about our group, especially when we get Kobe back. And then you got, next year will be a much more veteran group with D and Jamal and Kobe and Sammy and Woodaz back. And then we've redshirted a couple guys. We redshirted, Drew Woodaz, and we redshirted Kuba Taylor, and and where we are now with 3 games left, we got a bunch of guys that are now available, that have played 1 game that we've saved that can give us some depth on some special teams down the stretch here, which will be good. But those 3 guys, Sammy and Barrett and Woodaz, it's nice to have some really, really functional depth, down the stretch here.
Dabo, do you talk at all with your team about the opportunity to be the first in the ACC to get 7 wins and what that might do to the other teams in the league in terms of game pressure coming down the stretch?
Not specifically that. I mean, we've talked about how great it would be to finish 7-1. In our league, and not to be the first 7-win or what it does to other people. We just talked about what that means for us, to be able to finish the best we can finish is 7-1 at this point. So that's what we control. So to be able to, again, last year we were 4-4. So to come back this year and we beat everybody that beat us last year except for one team that we wasn't on our schedule. So to be able to get better and have a much better conference play, and we're put ourselves in position. We weren't in position this time last year, So we're still, in the thick of it. There's a lot of things that can happen. We don't control any of that, so we don't worry about it. We just want to focus on what we can handle and what we can control, and that's how we play this week and the best possible finish that we can have. So that would be 7-1, and that would be, like I said, a 17-team league. That'd be a really good year for us, and kind of, getting back on track within this league, because that's where it all starts.
Hampton, I think, came in for Terrell on the third drive or so. Terrell finished with fewer snaps than usual. Just trying to strike a more like 3-corner rotation.
Yeah, we were just trying to make sure that we had. He wasn't just for Terrell. He was in and out for everybody. We were just rolling those 3, and that was kind of intentional going into the game. And again, when you talk about counting plays and stuff, it's there's no. I mean, you can't control how series are going to go. And hey, you're in for this series. What might be 3 plays, and then the next series, okay, this guy's in and it went 12 plays. So you don't dictate that stuff. But we did go into the game really, wanted to just have a 3-man rotation and be able to play Ashton, a good bit in that game. So we felt good about where he was, and he's made a lot of progress. His confidence has grown. Certainly, make a play like he made, that helps. But practice habits, all those things. I mean, he's on his way, and he brings a lot of diversity. He's one of those kids that we're trying to really get him honed in at quarterback. But he's a guy that he can play anything. I mean, that's one of the things we loved about him in the recruiting process. I mean, he could play that nickel position. He could play either safety position. I mean, there's a lot of versatility to that kid's game, and he's unique. He's really, really unique player. So excited about the progress he's made. Still got work to do, but definitely feel good about with Shelton out as well, who was kind of our 4th corner. Trying to really force the issue and make sure that because we knew Jay Lou was a little banged up too. So Jay Lou had a little. He wasn't able to practice. Really a full practice and a half last week. He was out. So good to have that type of game for Ashton and feel good about where those guys are as a group.
Phil Mafah had a back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. What makes him so consistent that even if the offense is kind of in flux, you can hand him the ball and he would just gain 4 or 5 yards type kind of
that
thing?
Offensive line, it doesn't happen without those big guys up front, straining and getting it done. I mean, and Cade making the right decisions. Because there's a lot of things in our run game that are dictated by, the decision that Cade makes at the line of scrimmage and post-snap. But you got to, Mafah would be the first one to tell you got to give all the credit to them guys up front and guys straining downfield, receivers and tight ends. But Phil's just steady, man. I mean, he's just such a smart player. He understands patience and how important that is in the run game and setting your blocks up. And he understands all the run schemes. He understands defense. He sees it and he feels it. So just a really, really talented player, man. I'm really proud of him. The type of season that he's had, it's been awesome.
He's had 176 snaps the last 2 games to 7 for Jay Haynes. Would you like to have more?
I like Mo Mafah, Mo better. That's what I like. I ain't worried about anything else. Little Mafah's good, Mo is better. This is the championship phase, man. I mean, we have all the confidence in the world in our other guys, but why would you not want to give the ball to Mafah more? I mean, we only got him for a few more weeks. He's gonna be gone, and he's a horse, man. So, I mean, it's not like we're just blowing everybody out. Games are on the line. You can put your best. If I had the other guy out there, y'all'd say, "Why's Mafah on the sideline? Why would you have your best player on the sideline and you got this guy in there?" We're trying to win the game, and we got our best players in the game. So it ain't got nothing to do. We love our guys. We love them. We love Jay Haynes. We love Easy E. Love Jarvis. We love Keith Adams. We love our guys. But Mafah's our best player. And, so heavy as the crown. Just where he's at. He's been on that sideline enough. This is his time to be that guy, and we've needed him, and he's come through for us in a big way. So, Mo Mafah.
think on your radio show, you said Cade possibly had his worst game of the season against Virginia Tech. I guess.
I thought from a quarterback play standpoint, just playing the position, I thought it was his worst game. It was as good a game as he's ever had from a leadership standpoint, a grit standpoint, a heart standpoint, a toughness standpoint, a will to win standpoint. He ain't never been better. A+++. It was freaking awesome. I mean, he was just great. And it's been fun to see him as far as just how he's grown as a leader. And it just is, I mean, he's got an awesome will to win and a toughness to him. But as far as just quarterback play, I thought it was his worst game. Just stuff that we need him to do as a quarterback in decisions. And he took 4 sacks. Every sack was on him. Every sack. And none of them should have happened. And he just tried to do a little too much a couple times, and that was just frustrating. There were a couple plays there that we didn't pull the trigger on, but the best part about it is you didn't even have to tell him. In fact, what I said, how'd you think you played? Because you win a game like that, and he made some he did some unbelievable stuff. And he's like, I think it was my worst game. And I was like, man, that's why I know you're going to be a great player. Because I didn't have to tell him. He already knew. And I'm talking about from a quarterback standpoint, this quarterback play. He said that, and I didn't disagree. But as far as all the other stuff, we don't win that game without that. And that is just, I mean, his running ability is just changed everything for us this year.
What do you attribute to the slow start of that game?
Didn't finish plays. I mean, we 15-play drive, and we were first down on the 26, and we take a grounding. That can't happen. I mean, it's first down. You got to know where your people are, and he just kind of panicked right there, and that's a grounding. Well, we hand it to Mafah, and we overcome it, and Mafah runs to the 15, so it's going to be first down and scoring zone on the 15. Well, Antonio's holding. So penalties, critical penalties. And then we get the interception right there, and so we got no points. And we come back another drive, and we had a jumped offside, and we throw the ball out of bounds on a free play. We don't even give him a chance. But now it's 3rd and 2, and then we don't execute, and it's there. I mean, we just did not execute properly. So just precision in what we're doing, penalties, and then drops. We come back, another drive, and we hit our best player right there. And he just drops it. I mean, if y'all watch the game, it's pretty easy to see. You got to finish drives. You got to make the plays that are there and do the routine stuff well. And we didn't do that. Critical missed opportunities. Again, drops and penalties. And then obviously we have another good drive and we get the blocked field goal. So it was incredibly frustrating to have the ball almost 20 minutes in the first half and you got no points. It's not like we're just stopping us. We couldn't get out of our own way. We played with 9 or 10 way too much. That's not a good recipe for success in offensive football, playing with 9 and 10 guys. And so it was really disappointing. Now, obviously, we lost Tristian Leigh right out of the gate. Marcus Tate's gone. But I thought those guys battled really hard. No sacks by that offensive line against one of the top sacking teams in the country. So just missed plays, not precise in what we needed to do. But we were there. We just didn't finish. And then we came back in the second half and we scored, I think, 4 out of 7 possessions, and should have been a fifth one. TJ has the drop on the blade, and that's probably a walk. And just missed plays. We gotta be precise in just doing the routine stuff well, and we didn't do that. Now we were much better in the second half, defense was awesome for 4 quarters. Did a great job the whole night. Offense got it going in the second half, and again we moved the ball, And, that's frustrating when you go 15 plays and you're in the score and you overcome one penalty and then you come down and here you are, it should be first in scoring, in the 15-yard line. And now you got a holding call. And then we had a 4th and 2 that, we felt like they missed a call on that we didn't go our way. And Cade took a sack on that and gave up 10 yards for our defense, And he should have, you can't take a sack there. So just, but again, because sometimes they're going to miss a call. But it was just, still could have given him a chance, even if he's holding him. But just some misplays. That's it. It's not crisp in our execution. Again, penalties and drops, and just a few missed cues. 9 and 10 guys getting their job done, and we got it going in the second half. Played much better.
How about this linebacker for Pitt, number 9?
Yeah.
He leads the team in sacks and leads the team in interceptions. It's a rare combination.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good player. He's very active. He's physical, and just probably their most productive guy. And they bring him from everywhere. Again, when you watch these guys, I mean, they got dudes coming from everywhere. Sometimes you see it pre-snap. Most of the time it's post-snap. That's just what they do. I mean, it's basically cover zero a lot of the times based on how they play, especially if you got any type of run game. That's who they are. But he's a big factor in making it all go for him.
They use him almost like you used to use Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's everywhere. I mean, he'll come. He's outside the box, inside the box. He's dropping. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He's a good tackler. He's definitely one of their best players on the whole team. Great player.
Given how hard they make it to sort of execute down the field against them, how important is it to get some explosives against that defense?
It's very important. You can't win the game if you don't make some explosives against these guys. Again, they're top 15 team in the country in rush defense. Just simply, they're gonna force the issue. So you got to be able to win some competitive play. There's going to be some hold on to your hold your breath moments, because it's body on body, and you got to be accurate, and you got to finish competitive plays. That's just what it comes down to. The flip side of it is if you can get the ball in space, you got a chance to break some tackles. So you got to. It's going to be a really physical game with all of our skill people versus their skill people, and somewhere along the line, you gotta win your matchup. You gotta break a tackle. You gotta make that competitive play. Ball's got to be accurate. And, and then Cade's got to be a huge factor. I mean, because it's not always going to be clean, with nature of what they do. I mean, they'll take some chances. But they force you to, and it's hard to be perfect against these guys, by nature of, how they bring people. And so all of a sudden, a guy's popping loose, Cade's going to have to be able to make some plays, with his legs from a scramble standpoint. That's just, so you got an opportunity there with some off-schedule plays that if you're going to beat them, you're going to have some of those. Those will be a factor in a game like this.
Coach, over the years, what are some of the best tactics or methods that you found to keep everybody loose and calm when there's so much on the line in this big game?
We don't do anything different. Just do the same stuff you always do. Honestly, whether you're preparing for the national championship or you're preparing for, an FCS school in the state, it shouldn't be different. I think you create consistency in your routine. You prepare and practice to a standard every day. You have the same sense of urgency, and that, you get the guys to buy in. If you practice right, in the right type of way, when you get to game day, you're ready. And it doesn't matter who you play. It's always about how you play. Doesn't matter who, where, when, what you're wearing, what time the game is, what the weather is. I think when you focus on all the stuff that when you let external factors determine your preparation, determine your focus, determine your play, you're going to be very inconsistent. So, the best thing I can tell you is we don't try to we don't try to do anything any different. It's the same. We just try to focus on, our practice habits, how we meet, preparing for what we see on tape. Don't make it anything more than that.
Because you talked about Elyjah Thurman being a guy who could play all 5 positions. Is he capable of playing guard right now, or is he focused?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's played guard. Yeah, he can play guard, for sure. Yeah, he's practiced guard. He can play center. We just haven't used him at center, but he played center in high school. For those of you who maybe watched him a little bit in high school, I mean, he's a really special talent. I mean, he really is. I mean, and again, you don't ever know until you start coaching a guy. I mean, obviously you can see his physical attributes, his athleticism. These are things we all loved about him in the recruiting process, but you don't ever really know you start coaching a guy, like, where are they mentally? And this kid is just, I mean, he's really smart. He understands the game. And again, he's played 5 positions, so he just sees it differently, from a lot of kids. Some guys that come in and, man, it's all you can do to get them to get this one spot. But he's just a natural. It's really going to serve him well as he goes through his football career.
You talked about, again, with Ashton, that he could play multiple positions. In the recruiting process, why did you guys see him as a corner when other people might have thought he was just a safety?
Just his skill set. I mean, his feet. I mean, he can change direction. He can sink his hips. I mean, he can. You go watch him play basketball. I mean, he's just a great athlete. I mean. Yeah, some people just look at his size and they go, he's a definite safety. He can go play safety. But we loved him because we saw him as a guy that could come and give us that really elite size at corner. But also as we develop our group and he develops, really he gives you that unique ability to play him anywhere, as he goes through his career. And you'll probably see that with him for the rest of his career. I don't think he'll just be a corner throughout his football career. He's really good, but he's one of them guys that's rare that can go cover tight ends. I mean, he can play in the slot. He's got a physical presence to him. I mean, he's a really gifted kid, but again, he's a freshman, and we've tried to really bring him along in a good way, and as you saw, he's got a lot of confidence. He's got a great spirit to him. His dad's a college coach. He's been around ball his whole life, but he's got a lot of confidence, and when you play out there, you got to have, as I say, amnesia, because I mean they went right at him, right, and he guy makes a great play, and man, they come right back at him, and he makes a great play. So, he's got a bright future ahead of him, but definitely gives us a lot of. And right now we've got 3 guys that we feel really good, can get it done for us at corner, and we need more depth, but obviously we lost Shelton, but we got Gibson is really coming along as well. We got 2 games left with him, so hopefully we can get through this game, and then he'll be ready to go. He's finally healthy. He was really behind when he came in here, coming off the surgery, and wasn't able to really do anything in the spring and so forth. So really pleased with the progress that he's made. Excited about him, but that's where we are right now.
Any questions for Coach virtually?
Yeah, Dabo, this is Pete at AP. First of all, it's nice hearing Tim Beret ask some questions. That's always
Come on, Tim.
A positive thing. Also, it seems like every week in college football, a couple of power conferences have these big showdown games where even the loser is still considered part of the picture. And that doesn't seem to be happening as much in the ACC. Does that tick you off a little bit about the perception of this league when there is a lot of good football being played here in this league?
I mean, honestly, I don't waste any energy on that stuff. I'm just locked in on trying to have a good Tuesday practice and beat Pitt. But I agree with you, man. This is a lot of good football. It's a really competitive league. Anybody can beat anybody. I mean, Virginia Tech, we just played a really tough Virginia Tech. Every game for Virginia Tech, that's the worst loss they've had, 10 points. I mean, every game has been a touchdown or less for Virginia Tech. And, their opening game at Vanderbilt, everybody's like, the league stinks. You lost to Vanderbilt. Well, I think Vanderbilt beat Alabama and Auburn. I think they're pretty good. and that was a touchdown game in Nashville, with Virginia Tech. So I just think that, honestly, I think anybody can beat anybody. I mean, on any given day, that's just kind of where we are. Just when you think you know, you don't. I mean, that's where we are in college football right now. It's a lot of parity, but as far as wasting energy and worrying about, all that other stuff, I don't waste any time on that. But it's a great league, and guys are competing their butts off. A lot of good coaches, and I think anybody can play with anybody on any day, in any conference across the board. I really believe that.
Also, Dabo, I guess a couple weeks from now is an earlier signing day than before. How has it impacted how you handle recruiting during the season? Has it changed the way you do things because the signing day has been moved up?
No, it hasn't. I think it's great because it cleans it up a little bit from the portal and all that stuff. It allows you to really focus on getting your class signed, and we don't have a lot of spots. I mean, we really don't have a lot of spots open on our roster. So we like the group that we have, but I think we can really allows you to focus on these kids that are signing early, and then you can turn your eyes and you kind of see it. If you may have some guys leave or whatever, you can kind of see what you need to do on who's back. Again, the only guys that have to leave that are starting for us are on defense: Peyton, Page, RJ, and Barrett. And on the offensive side, it's Marcus, Tate, Brenny, and Mafah. Everybody else can be back. So we don't have a lot of spots. Aiden Swanson's got to go, and as far as the starters, so we look at who's back and who we project as starters and who we're signing, and if maybe you have some guys that aren't playing as much or whatever, guys that want to move on, and so then I just think it cleans it up so you can address again your signing, and then you can turn your eyes and see if there's any gaps or any needs that you may have moving forward. And I'm actually glad that they left it open, because originally they were just going to have a December portal window, and I'm glad that they left some time in the spring, because otherwise it's just going to be complete chaos. So roster-wise, we're in a good spot. We like our guys. We anticipate guys back here that we expect to be back here, but we'll go from there.
What's the number you're kind of chasing to finish in the season?
Well, it's not really. I mean, it's fluid. Again, we don't have many spots. We're over the spots that we have, but you anticipate, a few guys maybe not being here. But we don't have a lot of spots, So we feel great about our roster, and the guys that are going to be back, and some of the development that we've seen in these guys, and we really like our class that we're getting ready to put together. Can't talk about them, but really excited about that group that's going to come in here and fill some spots for us as well.
Got a couple more minutes with Coach.
It's just clarifying Collin Sadler. It seemed like he was day-to-day or week-to-week.
Yeah, he's out. He's out. He had to have surgery. So he was kind of day-to-day and week-to-week there. We thought he might be able to get back, and but it just wasn't getting better, and so we just shut him down and went ahead and did the surgery. He's actually feeling a lot better, but I felt terrible for him. He just busted his butt to try to play, and I just hate it, because he's a starter for us. And so again, that's the other thing. I mean, we're on our fifth tackle the other night. You come into the season because we lost Ian Reed out of the gate. We're trying to hold Mason, and I think Mason's got one more game left. And so you're sitting there, but we felt really good about our veterans, and best we felt in a while coming in the season, saying, okay, we got Tristian, we got Blake, we got Sadler, we got Marcus Tate, and then we got this young Elyjah that we'll bring along. But we got, at any moment, we got 4 tackles that can go play at a high level, because we feel good about the inside guys that we have, and so, next thing you know, Sadler's done, Tristian goes out, and Tate's out. So just like that, you got Blake and Elyjah. And it's a credit to Elyjah and his preparation all season long, and just staying ready. And just it was impressive. It was really impressive. again, he wasn't perfect early, but he settled in and got really better and better as the game went. And, just great job by Matt as well in having him ready. Even though he wasn't playing a ton, he was getting ready to play. And because, first move would have been Marcus Tate bumping out there at left tackle against that dude, or if Sadler had been here. But, proud of Elyjah.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Wes Gooden will join us momentarily.